Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Flowers, I want to thank all of you at FTA for the new financial discipline you are apparently importing into Metro. Quiet as it's kept, Metro's or WMATA's financial record keeping mirrors or has mirrored the much more widely understood and known issues of safety, particularly financial accountability, a system that was in disarray. Now, that directly affects safety, of course, because most of the money that WMATA is getting is for safety. If you look behind some of the criticism WMATA has received, we are told that $783 million of federal transit funding for WMATA is going unspent. So everyone assumes that WMATA is sitting on money and that WMATA is really ineffective by not spending money it already has. So how could it want more money? But if you look behind these numbers, Ms. Flowers, you find that $300 million of it is obligated for safety projects and for new cars, and the remaining amount is waiting reimbursement through FTA. Now, according to the information we've been given from FTA, in order to bring itself into the compliance it solely needed, and again, I thank you for the discipline that apparently is working, WMATA has complied with all 45 recommendations of FTA, submitted the required 65 corrective action plans, is working with FTA on a testing and validation plan, has closed 5 of the required testing and validation items, and has submitted 11 to FTA for review. The remaining 4 will be done at a later date and will be submitted on time. Ms. Flowers, a recent Inspector General report of FTA criticized FTA for not having consistent policies when it in fact undertakes a very serious matter, which is to withhold federal funds, which in this case means that the 3 jurisdictions get to pay. This report was entitled FTA Monitored Grantees Corrective Actions but Lacks Policy and Guidance to Oversee Grantees with Restricted Access to Federal Funds. And it found, for example, with respect to WMATA, and here I'm quoting, that WMATA was required to mail hard copies of the invoice packages to a contractor in North Carolina to review, which is more time and resource intensive than other processes. So my question, given the need for every penny WMATA can get, my question to you is, can you specifically identify at what point WMATA will be able to return to normal restrictions and procedures for accessing federal funds that the Congress has appropriated to it, rather than drawing down funds by hand, which can take anywhere from 10 days to 2 weeks for the money to get to WMATA for safety and for other matters?
We are on site at WMATA, and we were there yesterday to work on a plan, we call a snapshot plan, to try to expedite the issues that you're talking about. We have also put into our regional office additional employees to ensure that we can address the issues of trying to expedite the drawdowns of WMATA. I understand that, the
Ms.
restriction.
Flowers, if they've complied in this way, what is left to be done so that we can understand what is outstanding?
We're in the final steps of the verification process.
So do you expect in a few months? Do you expect by the end of the year? When do you expect WMATA will be able to access its funds in the normal fashion rather than by hand?
And this last step, if we see that the documentation is verified, we should be able to, I think, have a targeted lifting of restricted drawdown in certain areas. There's some of the older stuff that I believe that will still be there, but we can work with them in terms of addressing targeted and focused areas to lift that drawdown.
But you don't have a time frame on when you might be able
We
to accomplish it. The burden is now on you. They've done what you've asked them to do. The reason I'm pressing you on this question is if they've done all they had to do, the burden shifts to FTA then to say, by when do you think WMATA will be accountable enough so that these drawdowns will no longer, these by-hand drawdowns will no longer be necessary?
We're verifying that documentation, and I expect that in the next few weeks we will have completed this step.
Thank you very much, Ms. Flowers.
Thank you. And I now recognize Chairman Schuster for 5 minutes.